Hi everyone, my name is Tracy,
My name is Nana.
and this is the Big Beginnings podcast. Jazz
Jazz
hands.
hands. So in this podcast, we want to explore what it's like being a student and, navigating the student world.
Yes, and today's episode will be taking it all the way back to the beginning, first days. And I feel like for me, I'm gonna get emotional. I'm in Manchester right now, where I did my undergraduate degree.
Aw.
And I'm also in the Vita student I lived in throughout my undergrad. So this is taking me to day one. I think it's a great way to reminisce on what life was like when we started off and,
Yeah.
the first day, first time on campus, moving in, what was that like? All these first experiences we had as uni students.
So what were you feeling on your very first day? Like when you had just moved in to this new space and also began this new course, like what was actually going through your mind?
I know I was feeling nervous. And for me, it was like, I know that this is going to, essentially my parents are going to leave me. I knew there was a point I'm going to have to say goodbye.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to take on the responsibility of, actually functioning as an adult fully.
Yeah.
And they're gonna want to see that I'm able to manage my money. I'm not gonna go broke within the first week. I'm going to be able to eat all 3 meals, and I'm gonna be able to go to campus, do what I need to do,
Yeah.
make new friends, basically set up your life. I use this term because for me, it genuinely felt like that.
Yeah.
And
Makes sense.
it was nerve-wracking, and I feel like I was literally just 18, 19. You don't really know that much about the world at that point. It's like, some things, you've been given a lot of advice. A lot of people come talk to you, oh, I heard you got an offer, so let's actually talk about that. Let me give you some advice. And I did seek out advice, like what should I expect? How should it be? Especially for me, because I didn't know where I was going. I literally got onto the plane and here I am. So it was definitely something that I was scared about. That's another feeling I had. But I was also excited because I was like, I've waited for this opportunity.
Yeah.
I worked hard to get into uni. I wanted this, studying abroad and experiencing this new life. So it was exciting. And it was like, we're going to take everything we've learned.
Yeah.
And we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And I remember the day I had to say goodbye to my parents. That was such a sad day. It was like my parents were also I could see they were also a bit emotional. It was like, we've
so
done
sweet.
all that we can do.
Don't say it like that.
Yeah, no, I don't want to be dramatic, but for them, they're leaving me. They're going back to Kenya. And
It's a long way away.
Yeah, it's 12 hours depending on the airline, but it's 12 hours away.
Right.
And it's like, okay, we love you, and good luck. And I remember when they left, I went and I cried. Ooh, I felt like I was in a movie, honestly, because that dramatic scene where you just
the cue the sad music.
Yes.
But no, it's emotional. It's emotional.
is,
If you're not used to living away from home.
I wasn't, and now I'm in a whole other country, and I didn't have family in the UK. I did have family friends who were very helpful, but essentially it's still just me.
Big deal.
Yeah, big deal. So that feeling was overwhelming, but each day I was reminding myself that this is what I wanted.
Yeah.
And this is an exciting opportunity for me.
Yeah.
So I'd ask you the same thing. How are you feeling the first day, the first time? When you were finally on Oxford, how was that for you?
Yeah, I felt good. I felt like I was looking forward to it. I've mentioned this before, but because I was in a boarding school, it wasn't as a significant a difference as you. I was used to living away from home, so I was kind of all right, bye then. This is my moment, So I wasn't sort of homesick, but it was a big deal because when we were in boarding school, there were loads of restrictions. You had to be in your boarding houses at this time, and in your rooms at this time, you had to turn your light off at this time. If you want to leave school, you're not allowed to do that until you're a certain year group. I think it was year 10 or 11. And even then, you have to get your passes signed. Like, it was very controlling because they've got minors on their hands, so it has to be controlling. So when I got to university, I was like, wow, like, I'm away from home, which is not unusual, but it's the first time I'm like, you know, I could do things on my time, like, fully. And it was really a liberating feeling. It was quite fun. A little bit daunting because I realized that it could go either way based on my decisions and my actions. But I was really happy and really excited to be finally, like, making progress on my own, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed it, and I felt good. I felt positive. But I remember I was moving in with my mum and my auntie. It was helping me. English. My mum and my aunt were helping me to move in, and it was weird. So we arrived on the college site because Oxford is, like, divided into different colleges, and we had, like, our parents help us, but it wasn't our parents. Like, okay, just prepare yourself for this.
Okay.
They have a whole system where you have, like, parents when you arrive, and your parents have parents, so you have grandparents.
Oh.
And then when you get to year 2, like second year, year 2.
Would you get great-grandparents or?
Well, see, in classics, which is usually 4 years, you would have great-grandparents.
What?
But I did classics in English, so my course was 3 years. I still had great-grandparents, but I was never a great-grandparent. And you get kids as well. My kids, no, I'm joking. And it's weird because you're all, like, 1 year apart, or, like, 1 year older, 1 year younger. And additionally, there's, like, people that did gap years, so your child could be older than you. It's just, it's very interesting.
Oh, damn.
But it was really nice. So, like, our parents and different people helped us move into our rooms, and my mum was so excited. I remember, like, she was like, take a picture of that. Like, it would be a plant. Take a picture of the stone. Aww. Take a picture of the ceiling. I was like, Mum. And like, one of my aunts was holding, this was not my actual biological aunt. This is a college aunt.
Aunts. Okay.
She was holding, and I didn't know her. She was holding this massive printer, which was mine. And I was just thinking, okay, we need to move quickly from the car to the room. And my mum was like, no, Nana, stand here. I had a bunch of other irrelevant things that I brought. And I just remember thinking, why do I have this? But how about, I guess for you were coming from a whole different country. Like, how many things did you bring? Like, how did that work?
So, my mom looked me in the eye when I was in Nairobi, and she's like, don't you dare bring a lot of clothes with you. She was like, don't even try pack a towel, don't pack anything. No, nothing. Like, you were going, like, she was like, don't waste time packing things from home. Because essentially now I'm preparing to move to a new city.
Were you planning to buy everything here?
Oh, yeah. So basically we made the list, we went to the shop. We picked the biggest cart we could find.
The biggest cart?
Yes, the biggest shopping trolley we could find. Okay. And we began the journey of shopping. Yeah, it was a journey.
The journey, not even the journey.
The journey.
Wow, okay.
Of stocking up my new place. Because I'm starting a whole new life.
Yeah, but you don't need to bring the whole... What did you bring?
I came with nothing from Nairobi, just literally a few clothes. So everything needed to be bought.
Wow.
So I remember we were going through the store, you know, one of us is like, oh, I think you might need that. And, you know, it's like, yeah, you know, we can never be too prepared. So we bought so many things. I remember, like, my mom was like, ooh, you might need the slow cooker. And I was like, yeah, you know, I literally, in the moment, it's like, why not? And it's like, we need to be prepared.
Did you ever use the slow cooker?
You know, maybe once or twice.
What did you even make in a slow cooker?
I mean, this was the logic. It was like, okay, you be studying, you can put food
No,
to
stop.
cook. No, seriously, like, stay with me.
Stop
you
it.
You put food to cook. You don't have to worry about it.
While you study.
Yeah.
Why
and then
are
when
parents
you're done
like this?
No, because
they can't, like, separate the idea of, like, taking time off studying to do other things, like enjoy cooking. They're like, no, you can do both.
You can do both. And it was like, I also needed a NutriBullet.
What?
Yeah.
What is that?
For smoothies.
A
like,
NutriBullet?
Yeah,
is that like
the
a blender? Okay, you can see that I'm not
well
well versed into luxury lives. Or maybe I'm just, you know. Anyway, okay, it's a blender.
Yeah, and then I think we bought like everything a family of 5 would buy when they're setting up their house. It was like for
Okay,
one
fair enough.
person, every single electrical appliance we could get, we got. I even got an ironing board. I never used it, but like we got it.
I used to iron on my bed.
I don't think that's a
No, it
that's
works.
A fire
It works.
hazard.
No. You know, once I was so lazy, I ironed clothes whilst wearing it, and I burnt my.
Oh.
Yeah, there. I was
Oh.
just trying to be efficient, and
Is it?
yeah,
Is it?
yeah, it was a
Is
mistake.
burning yourself efficient?
No, do you know what? It was fine. It was almost perfect, and then I started getting too like gassed. I was like, oh, look at
You're a
me,
bit cocky.
and then I still have the scar.
Oh.
That's a safety hazard. Maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah,
I'm not
maybe
encouraging.
Don't do it. Don't
But
listen to Nana.
an ironing board. Like what you can do is you can just lay your bed and then like stretch the what's it called? The duvet like really tight and then
no. We were like,
Okay.
no, absolutely
Never
not.
mind.
Every single thing we could buy, we bought. And
That's so funny.
I remember like my dad looked at this apron and he was like, we should probably get this.
An apron.
Yeah, an apron. And I was like, okay, Dad. And I was very confused because I'm like, my dad, first of all, sorry, Dad, I have to say this, doesn't cook. So like,
That's
for him
so
to be
funny.
the one to come and tell me you need this, like both
That's
my
so
mom and I
sweet,
were just
though.
like, yeah, it's so sweet. But like, this was the extent. He was like, you probably need this when you're cooking. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, put it in the basket.
At any point, did you answer negative to any of the?
No.
Wow.
I was like, I might as well, because I know after this it's gonna be me. When they go, it's just gonna be me, myself, and I. So if you can get anything and everything.
Yeah, but then where are you gonna put it?
It doesn't matter. You just take it. We'll figure that out later. And that's the thing. We did all this shopping before we even like knew how much storage
Tracy.
I had. And when we were moving in, I remember like going into the kitchen. I'm like, okay, so where do I put my stuff? And they're like, oh, so each of us have 2 cupboards. And I looked at like my hand blender,
The slow cooker.
my slow cooker. I was looking at all these different appliances, my many pots. I think I bought like a cast iron skillet.
Oh, for goodness.
I had to, and I also bought a
cast
regular
iron skillet.
Yeah, because if I wanted
What even
because
is that?
Let me give some context.
Should I look it
I'm
up?
also a foodie, so I take my craft seriously.
No, but a cast iron skillet.
Yeah, literally a cast iron skillet, a pan. I think I had.
It
3
says this
pots.
is required for chefs.
Yes, and I'm a chef, Chef Tracy. Like I take my like it's. Being a foodie, by the way, like I feel like I should have mentioned this earlier because I was very much ready to finesse the kitchen and do my thing. And
This is so funny to me because it's like I guess I came in with a completely different, like I knew what it was like to be sharing a kitchen, for example, with multiple people. You can't, where are you going to put it? Where are you going to put it? But I guess for you, it was like you said, it was creating a whole different life, namely because you'd come from a completely different country as well. So it's like, if you needed something, it's not like you can just go home. With me, when I moved in, I was so used to living like compactly. I always say this, and my mum doesn't like it, but I'm like, I'm used to living out of a suitcase, which sounds really bad, but it's just because when I was in boarding school, I was in boarding school from the ages of 11 to 18, and then went to university. So I was very used to the idea like every 12 weeks or 10 weeks or whatever, we have to pack up the whole room, take it all home, and then bring it all back. So it was like, I'd take all my pots and pans and bring it all back. You know, I'm so used to that. So I was like very compact in what I had. And like, I always knew that it was like not my home in a weird way. It's just like this fleeting time period in which I'm going to be in this space. So it just sounds like a completely different experience. Because like, you know, I had my 1 pan and my 1 frying pan. And
and meanwhile, I'm here with my cast
iron skillet.
My pots and pans, my mini cooker. I think that's when I realized, like, the first day looks different for everyone. The first time when you're moving in. Because some people come and, you know, like you said, they're very, like, modest with how they pack.
I wouldn't say modest.
Well...
you know, I had to bring something. I had to bring a little sauce, you know. But it was just a small amount of sauce.
Yeah, and I realized, like, the first time moving in looks different for everyone.
Definitely.
And it's fun to see those differences. I think, I forgot to also mention, when I was moving in, I did a big shop when I was in Kenya for a lot of Kenyan food, spices. So I remember like when I got there and I was unpacking my spices, my flatmates were like very fascinated with what I was doing because I was like, this came all the way from Kenya. Like, it was just so interesting to see like the differences between, you know, how people prepare for this.
Yeah.
Some of us go overboard, and I'm
looking at you.
I
yes.
know you're looking at
I'm
me.
looking at
I'm just
you.
like, and others, you know, I think people have different lifestyles, different expectations, and different like, you know, things that they want to get out of their first like moving in.
How was the whole social aspect of moving into university? Like, what did you encounter in those first days, first week? Like, what was that like for you?
Yeah, well, back in Nairobi, I had my own space, my own bathroom, my own room. And, you know, now I've moved to a place where I'm sharing the kitchen with 7 other people. So that was firstly a new adjustment for me. And then the kitchen also serves as a social hub. Like,
sorry, I just want to ask, with like sharing the kitchen with multiple people, was there anything that you saw that alarmed you? Like, because I'm just thinking back to my experience, and there was a lot of alarming things that I was witnessing.
Like what?
Like, okay, I kind of draw on my experience from university, but also boarding school. But for example, toes on the counter.
Ooh.
What's going on there?
Ooh.
What is going on there? And I was seeing all kinds of interesting practices in terms of, you know, like people cook stuff and they're like, okay, I'll leave it for leftovers. People were leaving their leftovers for like 3 days just on the stove and then coming back to consume it.
No.
Yes, to put it in their mouths and digest that. I was
no.
quite alarmed and horrified. And I was just thinking, this is not normal behaviour. Or am I strange? Or people would wash dishes with like a finger and no soap.
Oh.
I was, yeah. Did you not see anything?
I did. I definitely did. I think my brain blocked out some memories.
Right.
It's just like...
It's a lot.
It's a lot. And I had a flatmate in particular who used to only eat canned food.
Oh.
And I remember watching that and I was like, there's no way.
What kind of... But it could work. What kind of
because...
Was it like baked beans?
No, it's like ravioli in a can. Like, it's wild. I think it was like...
I think it's a motive.
It is.
It might be, you know, he might be onto something.
Oh, and then like you mentioned about like, you know, how people wash dishes and that sharing the kitchen experience.
Yeah, bins.
That was definitely, I think it creates tension because somebody wants to cook and not clean. The other person is very like organized and clean.
Yeah.
And you put them in the same space and you're like, okay. It's basically a battle for dominance. Like, is the kitchen gonna be clean or dirty? And people are constantly like trying to send messages to others in like a diplomatic way. It's like, hey, I know.
Oh, in the group chat.
Yeah. The group
that was
chats. The group
That
chats.
was me. I have to admit it. I'd be like, so guys, do you maybe want to clean up after yourselves? Like, does that work?
Yeah, like, I don't know. It's just like, you know, the people have different like habits.
Yeah.
And learning to exist in the same space, that was a learning curve. Like, I feel like a lot of people, when they move in, that's something they have to, like, deal with.
Yeah, and I think even just... It's also learning to be tolerant of other people. Because I did, like, with the cleaning thing, I'm not going to say, you know, I'm one, you know, clean freak or, like, I'm obsessed, but I don't like to cook in a dirty space. Because that disturbs me. And I just remember, like, people would cook their meals. On one occasion, this girl cooked some kind of tomato sauce thing, which is very a common staple food for a lot of people at uni. And she'd left, like, I think the pot had spilled, so she'd left, like, tomato sauce all over the counter. And then just went, and left to go to her room. So then I'd come down, seen this, and been like, where do you want me to like cook? And I remember speaking to her about it afterwards, like, maybe just like wipe it up when you're finished.
What?
Maybe. And then she was like, no, that's the cleaner's job. So, and I just remember thinking people come from really different like backgrounds, mentalities, perspectives, because I was thinking, would you do that at home? If you were at home, would you leave a mess you'd made?
Yeah.
And the answer was yes. Apparently, apparently it was. So I needed. It was like an adjustment for me to learn to be tolerant to other people, because I can't like project my own experience of like cleanliness and like standards that I'd practice at home onto people that didn't, as much as I would have liked to.
And another big one is actually like going out.
Oh gosh.
Let's unpack that, because I think first year is known for that. It's the year you just go all out.
It's interesting.
And how was that for you? Like,
I don't know.
How was the adjustment?
It was. I remember the first night we got there with our college parents. We were back in our family trees, and they took us, like, they divided us into like different groups and stuff. Based on your subject, because that's how in my college they did parent system based on your subject. In other colleges it was just whoever. By the way, also you get married to different people.
Stop.
So you get. I got a proposal. I got 3.
Oh,
you know, I got 3, and I accepted them
okay.
all. So I had like multiple spouses.
You were in demand.
Right.
It
was a bit scandalous. No, I'm joking. It just, I don't know. I ended up having 3 spouses, but anyway. You basically were divided into like your subjects, and then you would do some kind of like initiation. Yeah, it was nothing crazy, but there were all of these unspoken like rules. Like, for example, there's this thing known as like a crew date in Oxford, which is interesting, and it can be between different sports, but it can also be like different subjects. And you all go to a set restaurant, and people just shout certain things out, and you have to know what the response is. Like, I tell you, that was my face. I tell you, like, I would be sitting there enjoying my meal, and then someone would scream gecko. And I was like, what? And everyone would like drop their food and run to like a wall.
What?
Yeah, and basically, like, you had to figure out what the rules were because no one would tell you. So all the freshers were like looking around, like
what's
and
going
if
on
you
right
were the
now?
one that like hadn't, the last one to do the thing, you'd have like a forfeit, or you'd have to have like take a drink or whatever. So I mean, I wasn't really into drinking, and secondly, I'm not trying to do a forfeit. So after I realised what it was, because gecko, I mean, I'm going to give everyone who's not at uni yet some pointers. Gecko means you have to have at least 3 limbs on one wall. So you have to like be literally touching a wall, or there'll be like table, or they scream something and you have to like get under the table. And like, see, I don't really move very fast, but once I established what this was, I have never moved so fast, because I was not trying to do a forfeit.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to take a drink. But like learning these different things and being in these social settings was super, like, it was just weird. It was different, but it was interesting. And I think when you're a fresher, you try out a lot of different things until you kind of find your groove a bit and be like, okay, this is for me, or this is not for me. But I mean, how about you?
I think it was like definitely an adjustment to see that difference, because in Kenya it's not really a thing to drink Monday to Thursday. From Friday onwards, sure, but like, you know, seeing the difference in drinking culture was another thing I was getting used to. And of course during freshers, I don't know how many like promoters you encounter in just one day.
Yeah,
you go
that's
out
true.
to the shop, there's someone handing you a flyer
For like free, like
free drinks,
entry, or
free entry. It's like everywhere you go, that's all you see. And of course everyone wants to make friends as well.
You saw people like navigating that in different ways. Like, how did you, I guess if it wasn't like, how did you navigate it? Like, how did you approach the whole
the whole like drinking? So for me, I just was like, I don't think I can do this every single day. And I think I was honest with my friends. I was like, no, I can't. No, it literally, like, this is insane. So we kind of found a balance where it was like, okay, we can still go out, have meals, and like hang out or do like adventures. Like, I think it was like trying to strike a balance through that, because it can be intense. Some people can handle it, some of us can't. I can happily say I can't. Like, and that's okay. Like, you're gonna have your own, you know, outlook to this whole drinking experience that is especially prominent in first year. And I think for you, it's just to find a balance.
Yeah, find your groove. I feel like after second year, I was like, yes, this is what I like, this is what I don't like. And it's easier to like, once you have a firm opinion and a firm stance to navigate, okay, so I'm not going to go down that route, or I'm not going to like, I don't know, it's not a route as such, but it's just the approach that this is what I am comfortable with and this is what I'm not, and sticking to that. And I think as you go on in your whole uni experience, you get a bit more confident in knowing what works for you and sticking to it.
So I want to bring up a memory that you maybe might have ignored for a while, because no one likes thinking about this.
Okay,
Lectures.
I'm scared. Oh, the L word.
Lectures. The L word, yes. When you knew that, you know, freshers is over, the fun is over, no more kikiing around the streets, like, time to actually do what we came here to do. Exactly. And, like, knowing that you have to get into this whole routine, you know, you getting your timetable and seeing all those 9 a.m.s and the crazy...
Actually, this is trauma.
I that's why I had to give you a disclaimer, because this is
flashbacks.
It is. So, like, what was that experience like? Were you know, did you feel like basically your time in college prepared you for this sort of routine, or did you feel like it was completely different and it was something that you had to adjust to?
I'll be real with you. I probably saw 9 a.m.s for the first 4 or 5 weeks. After that point, I didn't encounter them anymore. Ooh. Even though they were scheduled on my timetable. But I mean, you know, when things are also recorded. Do you know what though? Before COVID, Oxford did not do that. At least for my course. They didn't record lectures. So if you didn't go, that's actually on you. But I took the risk because my bed is very comfortable. It was, you know, very warm. And why should I wake up at 8 something to... Because I'm paying for it. You see, I always forget.
Because you're paying 9K for it.
I'm paying for it.
I want to take this opportunity to speak for my international students. We were paying double what the local students were paying. So I was paying...
That's a sticky one.
18K. So...
That makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, literally. So if I'm chilling and vibing and literally I'm paying the fees for 2 local students, it's like, I don't know, I felt like it was like, I'm gonna be struck by lightning. It's like horrible behavior. So I definitely was like, because I knew the effort and the time my parents put into this, and you know, not on any scholarship, fully funded by my parents. There's also that aspect of like, as much as the first year didn't count, I was like, you might as well give it a bit of a go.
That's good.
Yeah.
This is nice to hear. I'm just saying this, I'm thinking, my mum might listen to
Yeah, like, I'm also thinking about the fact my mom and dad
It is what it is. It's the truth. It's the truth. Like,
we're here to be truthful.
After second year, that was like my big question. Like, okay, I really do want to get a good grade, and I came here for a reason. So what are my priorities? And I think you knuckle down and, you know, get really serious at that point. Yeah. Which is good fun.
And when I started attending like the lectures, I remember just being in the room and starting to realize like some lecturers are more interesting than others. Yeah. Others talk way more, others are more like, you know, engaging. So like trying to maintain your attention span during the entire lecture, was another struggle, because I noticed a lot of students would have like WhatsApp loaded on their laptop, or they'd be on Instagram, or they'd literally be shopping
lectures, and you see people in front of you like texting their boyfriends or like, you know, online shopping. Me, I was sleeping. I'll be so real with you.
Didn't even show up.
If it wasn't I was in the lecture.
Sleeping.
Yeah, I used to have this thing. I don't know if I want to expose myself. You know, I'm actually a serious student. I actually worked really hard to get into Oxford, and to stay there.
No doubt.
But I would have this thing where if the lecturer was just talking and it wasn't interesting, I couldn't control myself. Like, I would fall asleep and I snored. That's what made it worse.
No.
So I'd just be like, and I'd wake myself up and then look around and just, you know,
straighten your jacket.
Yeah, just get back to work. But like, at that stage, there was so much I didn't understand.
Yeah.
And I was going, and I'd be pinching myself to stay awake, and then just be like, no.
And then it just,
yeah.
Like, that does sound like it was, like, automatic.
Yeah, but it's changed. Now that I'm interested, if we're talking about being a student now, like, even though, we've done our undergrad, it's just very different. We're new students again. We moved into a new place again.
Yeah.
But, like, having done it the first time round, this does feel really different. Like, now I'm very consistent with the schedule most of the time. And, like, it's interesting. What I'm learning is really cool, and I'm more interested in it than possibly my undergrad. Although that was interesting in its own ways.
In its own way.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So, now we're going to segue into the dilemmas.
The part you've all been waiting for.
The juicy stories. I hate the word juicy. I don't know why.
Let's go for saucy.
Saucy, yeah.
Saucy is giving me, like, chef vibes. And as you're a chef, a self-proclaimed chef.
Guys, literally,
I haven't tried your food yet. You've been saying you're gonna. Anyway. Let's not get into the domestics.
Sounds like there's some beef over here.
No, because you didn't make any, but that's fine. Moving on. The first dilemma we have today, the subject line is. Oh, and as a disclaimer, just to reiterate, we've not seen these dilemmas. We didn't pick them, so we're not quite sure what's coming up.
It's a blind reaction. So.
It's a blind reaction. The subject is not sure what to study at uni. So it says, I'm in sixth form and about to choose my university subject. At the moment, I study criminology, law, and psychology. That's beautiful.
Oh.
And I'm doing well in all of them, yes, and achieving high grades. We love to see it. Sorry, these are my ad-libs. This is not the dilemma. But over the last month, I've lost all interest in the subjects, and I'm not sure what it is that I want to do.
Oh.
My dream would be to take a musical theatre course, but my mum and dad want me to do law. Obviously, that would be the sensible option and has better career prospects, but I'm worried I'll hate it. Do I follow my dream or take the sensible career path?
Without sounding cheesy, you should definitely do what you're passionate about and what interests you. I think that, right now you may not find the topics interesting, which, by the way, I think we all experience on our courses.
Yeah, for sure.
I think there was a point where I was like, yo, like, this is actually what I signed up for. Like,
hey,
what's going on?
When you get to EU law, that module.
Oh, I think with this whole struggling to find interest in what you're doing right now, changing courses is a big leap. It is something that you should probably spend a bit more time thinking about before you do it, because once you do it, you're not going to change again.
No, I think she hasn't started uni yet. So she's studying those criminology, law, psychology, probably A-levels. And so she's saying her parents want her to do law at uni, but she doesn't want to do law. She wants to do this musical theatre course. So she hasn't actually started a course yet.
Oh, okay.
So what are you thinking?
What do I think? Okay, I think you should follow what interests you, because 3 years of your life could be potentially going to something that you know for a fact you're not going to enjoy. And after that, you're going to have to enter the industry you're trying to study typically. And it's not going to be, you don't want to spend the rest of your adult years working in a job, doing something or in a profession that you don't like, that is, not interesting to you.
Yeah, and honestly, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, and I feel like we're kind of moving away from, like, the traditional, like, the careers people typically think will make you money. Engineering, medicine,
it's not
law.
like that anymore. It's just like, it's a whole different ball game, because at the end of the day, you could go ahead and study musical theatre because that's where your passions lie, and then you could say, well, I really enjoyed that course, but I think I do maybe want to do law. And there's still that option. I didn't study law for undergrad. I did classics and English. So that was not a legal route. But then I graduated and I was like, hey, I want to do law. And I am doing law now.
It's not as rigid. And I feel like if you want to go, like, study musical theatre and then have that as your career, there's definitely a case to say, like, in this day and age with the growth of social media, it's no longer just like, you know, the traditional options where you have to like stick to working in an office and doing these sort of 9 to 5 jobs.
Exactly.
There are a lot of opportunities, I feel, for even someone who's studying musical theatre. And you don't know how things will be in the industry 3 years from now when you're done with your degree.
Right.
So definitely having, you know, that open mind and thinking like, you know, there's so much you can do with your degree. It's not just the traditional stuff. Social media is out there. I can also use that to like amplify my talent and get people to see what I'm doing. There's so much opportunity. So
Yeah.
I think for sure, like, yes, law is more traditional. And I'm speaking as a law student. Like, I know, like, you know, the career prospects seem easier, but that's not to say it is going to be more rewarding.
And also, it's not even to say that musical theatre wouldn't be
Yeah.
like a lucrative career option if that's what you're looking for.
It can easily be.
You know,
if that's what
you could
want.
become very successful and we could see you on Netflix. So I
Yeah.
think you should do it.
Yeah. We can see you on Broadway. We can see you, like...
In the West End, you know, go for it. Like, I honestly do think, like, there's more ways to make money which now might be deemed as sensible options. Like, the old-fashioned sensible options are exactly that. They're a bit old-fashioned. And there are other ways to make money whilst doing something you love. So
Yeah.
you're not going to even enjoy the course, and therefore you probably won't do well in it if it's not something you want to do. Like, it's so much harder to do well at something that you're not interested in.
Yeah, and law at A-level, college level is not the same as the actual degree. So I would say now more than ever, pursue your passions. There's a lot out there you can do, because as a society, we see now, like, the people that make the most money aren't the lawyers, engineers, doctors. They're the more creative people. And I think you should just go out there, do what you love, and I think the world is very receptive to such, you know, art forms. So I'd say do it.
Go for it.
Yeah, pursue that passion. Second, okay, so now we're gonna move to the second one, and the subject is I helped my friend cheat.
Okay, wow.
Already from the outset,
Wow.
it's like, damn. Okay,
What
so
type of cheating are we I'm scared.
we're
Okay.
about to unpack that. So my friend is on the same course as me and has been struggling with his assignments. We had an essay due, and so I shared my file with him to use as inspiration.
Okay.
He was only halfway through the essay on the day of submission, and I found out that he had literally copied and pasted
Oh, wow.
sentences from the file I gave him into his essay.
That's a bold move from him.
And that's already plagiarism.
That's plagiarism.
That's cheating. I only gave it to him because I trusted he wouldn't copy it. I even spent the whole day teaching him about the module. He ended up submitting only a few minutes before the deadline, and I didn't get to read over it because he sent it in, so I had no idea that he had copied me until it was too late. I confronted him about it, and he said he was frantic and he forgot to paraphrase.
Oh. Forgot.
Inevitably, we're going to get in trouble. So what do I tell my tutors? And shall I cut him off as a friend after this? I really don't want to face consequences for trying to help him out. We can't even deny it because it's so obviously copied. Please help. Oh my. Oh my, oh my.
Wow. That's very techy. That's very, very techy. Because that's a friend, but that's also academic misconduct, which could like ruin your whole degree.
Do you know what? I know there's this whole phrase of snitches get stitches.
That's my mistake. I'm not gonna lie. I was like snitches get stitches though. So how do we navigate this one?
Nah, because
But at the end of the day, get the stitches.
yeah,
Get the stitches.
be a snitch.
You
like,
have to.
You can't go down on a sinking ship
Because
just because it's
gonna-
your friend.
That's not a friend. That is not a friend.
That's not a friend.
They're jeopardizing your academic. Uni is hard, okay? You work so hard to get in, and then you have to work hard to stay. Why would you like allow someone that's your so-called, you know, friend to like sabotage you in this way? Like this is maybe they were struggling, but like you said, you spent the whole day teaching them. You gave it to them as inspiration. I think, irrespective of like the what's and whys and hows, the result is going to be the same. You're both going to be called in for academic plagiarism. So you do have, I honestly do think you probably need to make whoever, the tutors, aware that, look, this is what happened. You can phrase it in a nice way that, you know, it wasn't his intention, he got flustered, but
do you feel like that's an excuse? We talk about red flags in relationships, but there's also red flags in friendships.
That's true.
And that to me sounds a bit like an excuse. He literally, you know, was given the opportunity to like understand. She spent time talking to him, you know, really like putting a lot of time and effort.
Yeah.
And to him, it was like, yeah, that's cool, but I'm still just gonna, you know, like,
he's brazy. Like,
it's
that's
very
brazen.
lazy to
I
me
can't even
because
believe that.
I can't imagine any sane student literally taking their friend's notes and copy and pasting
He
it.
forgot to paraphrase.
I think that's a lie. I think he was just
Yeah,
just
he's
couldn't
lying.
be bothered.
Cut him off, please.
It's a red flag. Like,
you have to cut him off.
Yeah.
What's that?
Cancelled.
Control, alt, delete.
Yeah.
Just remove him from your life. Like,
And
we're all about forgiveness, but I mean, there's some people that just don't need to be in your stratosphere.
Because if you were like forgiven, they're like, okay, don't do it next time, which is highly unlikely.
You should forgive him, so you don't feel that hatred or like, you know, resentment. I always advocate just forgive even if just for yourself. But then you don't need to continue to
be friends.
Like, engage in that friendship.
Because he could easily do it again, and then what will he say then? Oh, my computer was crashing. I could he's just come up with all sorts of crazy excuses.
Yeah, because it's that whole thing, when you give someone an inch, they take a mile. Like, if you allow it the first time, well then, and also it's not about the first time and blah blah blah. You're gonna get called in, so it's not even like, you know, oh, next time he could, like, if it really is a significant amount that he copied and pasted, which is what she says it was, then you, like, they're going to get called in for it. Yeah. And so she's going to have to explain regardless. The two options are actually have your degree, like, nullified because you plagiarized someone, or tell the truth.
Yeah. I feel like you've been a good friend. You've really put the effort to help him and, you know, support him. But if he chooses to, you know, basically take advantage of that and use your notes as his essay, it's signifying that there's an issue with him and not with what you did. So go explain to your tutor, because you don't want to be, you know, looking like you're complicit. Tell them this is what happened.
Legal terms.
Yes.
I love it.
Just explain the situation, and let them make the decision, but at least say the truth.
Or even, if you don't want to be a snitch, and encourage him, tell him, you know, you're going to have to explain. So that you don't feel like because you'd be entitled to, but if you feel like, oh, I really just don't want to, like, go behind his back and say this, even though I should, why don't you just explain to him, look, at the end of the day, we're going to be called in, so why don't you now, in advance, go and explain what's happened? And put that burden on him rather than on yourself. And if he is really your friend, he'll, like, you know, he'll do it, because it's him he's the one that messed up. So I think actually that would probably be my approach. I'd probably speak to him about it and explain, you're going to have to go in and explain what you've done.
And if he agrees, then I think you can see, okay, maybe this is someone who I can be friends with if he owns it. Yeah,
you can maybe continue to work on the friendship.
But maybe don't send your notes. And if he refuses, then that just lets you know what you need to do. Tell them the truth and also cut the guy off.
And keep it stepping.
Keep it pushing.
Burn the bridge.
Burn it to the ground, like,
you know,
bye.
Gasoline flame, just destroy it.
Petrol bomb it, like.
Yeah, because, you know, if he's not even gonna go and tell the truth after what he's done, if it really was an accident and he forgot, then you should have no problem owning up and taking some accountability.
Yeah.
If not, then you can actually see me from across the
bridge.
the river, because there's no bridge anymore and you're not in my life. So, you know, that's the approach I would take.
And that's on period.
Okay, so the third dilemma, the subject line is, my friend is weirdly possessive. That's already red flags.
Red flags.
Red flags. Red flags. Do you know what I heard the other day? Pink
What?
flag.
What?
Because
So
it's like,
not as
it's
bad?
almost a red, and I quite like it. So maybe this is not actually a red flag. Maybe it's a pink flag.
Possessive?
Okay, no, red flag.
No.
But what if she's no.
No.
Okay, so my housemate has started to become very weird and jealous. Okay,
no.
Red flag.
Oh no.
It's not a pink flag, it's a red
no.
flag. I'm one of her only friends. So she's always in my room. I mean, that always, it's always going to be difficult. I'm one of her only friends, and so she's always in my room, always wanting to hang out. I go to my hometown quite often, brackets, my boyfriend lives there, and she gets so mad whenever I do. I feel like I'm with her a lot and spend loads of time with her, but she gets really weird whenever I try and hang out with other people or see my boyfriend. She told me that we cannot be friends if I go home all the time. She's given out ultimatums. Brazy. All of these have been, but anyway.
Red flag.
The last line of this says, I'm really confused and not sure about how to go about this. I want to still be her friend because she's actually really nice. Is she?
I doubt it.
But also I don't know how to tell her to relax and back off a bit.
I feel like I've watched a movie with this storyline. Genuinely, the jealous
because
friend.
that sounds like a horror film.
Yeah, it could also be a true crime documentary.
Oh, stop it.
No, okay.
Stop it. I'm scared.
Let's be kind of real here, because
no, it's a bit alarming.
it is alarming, and I don't think. Okay, so of course we're gonna say try and talk to her.
No, even before that, look at the last line. She's actually really nice. I think just let's keep it real. If somebody is jealous, you said very weird and jealous. You said weirdly possessive. You said she gave you an ultimatum when you want to spend time with your boyfriend.
Ooh.
Those three things are not actually really nice. I think we need to keep it real and distinguish between, she's trying to give her credit where credit is not due.
Yeah.
You're not an actually really nice person if you're exhibiting all of that behavior. You can't just cancel that out and be like, okay, but she's actually really nice.
Yeah.
Perhaps you could say sometimes she shows glimmers of something that might be nice, but overall, that's not a really nice person, and therefore, you don't really even need to entertain this. What is she gaining from this friendship?
Yeah. No, because you listed it down perfectly. And like I said, this sounds like a...
Stop. It does sound like a thriller, though.
I literally watch a lot of true crime, so this is giving me flashbacks to that. But I feel like you've said it...
CBS reality.
Yeah.
That was my mum's show growing up. It was always on TV, so yes, it is giving me...
Yeah, the possessive friend that gets more and more crazy.
Because how do you know she's not even into you? How do you know?
It sounds like she has feelings for her.
And that just makes it all worse. That's just so complicated. And irrespective, she can't give you an ultimatum.
Yeah, it's
that
them
Netflix
or
show.
me. Are we in high school? What's going on here?
Maybe they are, though. maybe they actually are. Oh no, my housemate. Okay, so we can presume university.
Yeah, no, I feel like this is not the kind of person you want to be entertaining. Because why are they making you choose? You can all coexist.
It's wrong on so many levels.
Yeah, if she was a good friend, she would be happy for you when you have, you go to your boyfriend and you hang out with other friends. She wouldn't have a single problem. Though.
Sometimes you have friends who, as soon as they get into a relationship, they are apparently nowhere to be found, they disappear, that you don't exist, and then when the relationship gets sour or they break up, they want to resume the friendship where they left it. My question is, I guess to some extent, I do think she could have. I do think this friend could maybe have a point in if that's what she's doing. If she's basically, now that she's got a boyfriend, putting all her effort into that relationship and no longer into their friendship. However, it does say she's with her all the time, so that's probably not the case.
I guess maybe you can ask her why it is that she feels like you can't all exist in her life? Like, why is it that I have to pick them or you?
Yeah,
Maybe she could have a valid reason. This is us really giving her the benefit of the doubt.
But even if she does, that's not the right way to go about it.
It isn't. You don't just give people ultimatums. This is not a true. No, let me not say it again. But this is not the kind of like.
It's like that. Have you watched the Netflix show, The Ultimatum?
Yes.
It's giving me, you know, and look at how that turned out. I mean, we won't. No spoilers, but look at how that turned out for some of the people that gave the ultimatum.
Yeah, not good.
So yeah, I feel like if someone ever gives me an ultimatum, you can actually just leave. Like, that's actually the end of our friendship.
Door is.
What do you take me for? That's so like disrespectful.
Yeah.
I feel like if you really cared about me, we'd sit down, we'd have a discussion, and I want to hear where you're coming from, and then maybe we can like, we'll come to a resolution of some sort. But an ultimatum is just very like entitled behavior, I think.
Yeah.
Because you're giving that ultimatum with the presumption that I'm going to choose you. Otherwise, you wouldn't say that. Or maybe you really don't care either way and you just want it to be a bad B. Who knows? But I personally feel like that's not a good friend.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the end of the episode. Today has been a journey. We've gone through a journey. We've taken it all the way back to the first day. And, you know, it's been lovely being here in Manchester. It's so appropriate as well for me to be talking about my first day in the same city that
Same building
that a lot of this happened. It's honestly...
That's amazing.
It is amazing. I love it. And, you know, I am sad to leave. Insert tear. But I think it's just been... It's been a nice way to reflect on how, you know, it all started.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, like...
And even, I mean, I've really enjoyed being in Manchester. It's a cool city. I love the people. I love the accent. Yes. So it's cool. Like, it's been a fun journey physically to arrive at this location, but also, you know, metaphysically to think about our whole experience at university and what's changed. And seeing like where I was at the start and where I am now. Because even though I'm at the start of a new course, it's like the end of my last one. It's
like self-reflection. Mm-hmm. You get to see where 18, 19-year-old Nana and Tracy were. And now as 22, 23-year-olds, we're like, it has been a lot of learning experiences, but...
Expose my age on the podcast.
Oh, but a woman never tells her age.
Yeah, I mean...
Though I just did, so...
It's fine. But yeah, absolutely. It's been so fun, and I hope that it's been interesting to listen to. And if there's anything that you guys can relate to, or any other questions, or, I don't know, things that you would think would be interesting to discuss, then please do send them in to the team at Vita Student on Instagram, and we'd be happy to kind of delve into that next time. Anyway, peace, guys.
Bye.